And welcome back to the shop. This is going to be a short video on the YZ250 two-stroke from 1999 to 2015. If you have changed your oil and you found metal in your oil, everything else is good for the most part. It's shifting through all its gears. The gears are holding well. It might feel a little funny on the shifter maybe from time to time. The shifter doesn't feel the same, but otherwise the transmission seems to be working fine otherwise. But you found metal in the oil, maybe even a part of a bearing, maybe even a race of a bearing, or you have a magnetic drain plug and you found, like, not just your metal dust. That little dust that you find in the magnet drain plug is pretty normal transmission sheds, but you're finding like tiny ball bearings, bearing race, just metal. If you're finding that on the 09 to 2015 YZ250, the shift detent lever, there's a small bearing on it, and it's known to go bad. I'm going to take you in the house and on front of the computer a minute, show you pictures and talk about it there. But just out here in the shop, that little bearing goes bad, and it sends trash all over the motor. Now, luckily, you can access the shift detent lever just behind the clutch cover here. My brother, he had it go out on his. Well, let me tell you a little history on it first. I got an email from a subscriber, viewer, and friend named Kelly. He's the same guy that sent me the Apex head to do a review on, and he found metal on his magnetic drain plug and a little bearing and a bearing race, and he was like, where did that come from? I was like, I don't know. I said, but it looks pretty small, so it must be underneath the clutch cover. Well, he dug around, and that's what he found, the shift detent, the little wheel on it. There's a little bearing, and it comes apart. Again, I'll show you what it looks like in a minute when we get in the house, but he found that that's what it was, and I thought that was really strange. And he pointed out that they only used that part until 2015, and then in 2016 to the current ones they have a different part number, which means it's an updated part. So he bought the updated part for it. Well, I thought it was really strange because I've never heard of one of them going out before, except for on the 2014 YZ450, and in 2015 they changed it to a different model shift detent lever, so that would stop happening. And I just thought that that's the only thing that ever happened on, until Kelly, it happened to him. But it wasn't but about 2 or 3 weeks later, my brother calls me up and says, hey, I'm finding metal in my son's magnetic drain plug, a little ball bearing and a bearing race, and what do you think it is? I said, dude, that's probably that shift detent lever. And I explained to him what Kelly told me about it, and he didn't believe me at first. And I was like, no, you're going to want to check that out, because again, I've just never heard of this happening. But when it happens twice like that, from 2 people I know within 3 weeks, I thought I just needed to make a video on this to let you guys know. Now, my brother was able to replace it by just removing this cover right here and pulling the whole clutch basket out. He was able to access it down there. And again, once I get in the house, I'll show you some pictures of how that looks. But and what he did was he put in the updated one from the 2016 to the 2024, so that wouldn't happen again. So let's go inside and we'll talk about it for a minute. Alright, so this is the picture Kelly sent me. You can see this is what he found in his motor oil, which caused him to start digging in. This is the old part versus the new part, a picture that he sent me as well. I believe the older one is the top one, I'm sorry. And there's the new one. There's the part number for it from 2015 to 2024. That's what you're going to want for your 99 to 2015. That's the old one. That's the 99 to 2015. You do not want that part. You want the next one that's coming up right here. There you go. That's the one you want. That's the part number. That's for the 15 to 23. Then my brother, he sent me this picture. He was like, what is that? I found it in the motor oil. He was honestly ready to overlook it. I was like, no. I had a friend get a hold of me about that. Dig into your detent. You see it in there? That's the detent lever. You can see where it's at in the motor. You see the little bearing race wrapped around the lever? So he's showing where it's at underneath the clutch cover there. And there it is with the race still on it. Yeah, and that's what he found too. So, I mean, look at that. And his son was still riding the bike around. I mean, he wasn't even complaining, honestly. So it can go unnoticed. There's the old parts on the bench. There's the old broken lever versus the new updated one. There's without the lever in there. That's what it's going to look like when you pull out the shift detent lever with the spring and the little holding tab. That's what my brother's showing you to use a socket to put it back in, an Allen socket. You don't want to use an Allen key. You could strip it out. You want to use a socket with an extension like that to get a good straight shot at it, because they are in there pretty tight. That's him showing you how to put the spring back on after you get it in. That's the easiest way, just to pop it back on. I do suggest a new spring. The springs do fatigue after a while, so while you're buying a detent lever, get yourself a new spring too. And that's what it will look like when you get the spring latched up. He's showing you right here to make sure you use Loctite on the bolt when you go to put it back in. You don't want anything coming loose when you're out riding. That's for sure. And that's the finished product for the most part. All that's left now is just to put the clutches back in and the clutch cover back on, which that's what he's doing right here. So that's pretty much a wrap. Alright, back in the shop now. So yeah, if you're finding the metal, you know what to do. Dig in and check that out. If you're rebuilding a 99 to a 2015, or if you're already in there, just go ahead and get the updated part now. I don't know why I'm just now hearing about these fail, but maybe it's the age thing. I don't know. But if you're in there, go replace it. And if you find metal on your oil and your transmission still seems good for the most part, check that out first thing. It's always good to have a magnetic drain plug. It can let you know of failures before the failure completely becomes a failure. I have found a chip of a tooth one time on my magnetic drain plug on a YZ250. I pulled the motor out, split it, and sure enough, I found one of the teeth on the transmission was completely broke off. So, you know, it lets you know ahead of time. You don't, you know, before you're out riding and the back wheel just locks up. And the beauty of a magnetic drain plug is it will hold everything, so when you drain your oil, you'll see it on there. A lot of times if you don't have that, you're going to drain your oil, it goes in the pan so quick, and you might not notice that little stuff, or it might just still be sitting in your motor. One more thing to add, if you do have that detent lever go bad and you found metal in your motor oil, after you replace that detent lever, obviously you can access it right here, but you know, you're going to want to clean out any metal you see in that area. Some metal can make it to the other side of the motor on where the transmission gears are at, and you're going to want to get that out of there. Again, the best way to get that out of there without pulling the motor out and splitting it is putting a magnetic drain plug in, put the motor back together, fill it back up with oil, leave it on the stand, run the bike through its gears, just start it up and start flipping through the gears so the back wheel can spin, and just run it for a while. And hopefully any metal that's in there that's just kind of floating around the bottom will stick to the magnet. Then drain your oil and see if there's anything on the magnet. Clean the magnet. If you find some oil on, some metal on it, clean the magnet, put it back in, fill it up with oil again, and do that again. And just keep doing that until you're not really finding any metal on the magnet anymore. Once it's good and clean, you're good to go. Button it up and take it out for a test ride. But anyway, this was just a short video. I just wanted to cover that for you guys out there. Someone might be searching on YouTube, YZ250, oil and metal. This could be why. I appreciate all my subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, you like this kind of stuff, you know what to do. This weekend, I don't know where you guys are going to be riding at. I think we're going to take it a little bit easy and probably ride Croom or Bone Valley. We have an FTR race coming up in 2 weeks, and the wife typically likes to go out and trail ride, practice in the woods a little bit before we hit an FTR hare scramble race. So that's what I'll be doing this weekend, but I hope you guys have a good weekend of riding, and catch you guys next time.